Hi, I'm Luke Williams from XR Today, bringing you all the latest news and breaking stories from the world of XR. I'm joined today by Chris Chapman, the brand new CEO of StretchSense. Chris, thank you so much for being with us. And could you introduce StretchSense as a business, tell us a little bit about what you do, your story, and where the business is up to today?
Hey, hi Luke. My name's Chris Chapman. I have the great good fortune to be the CEO of this business as of this week, which is really exciting. And so StretchSense is a business that it's like it says on the tin, really, the name. It started with a stretchable sensor. And from that, hey, what do you put it into? And the first product really has been gloves. And the gloves have been used for the motion capture space. And our gloves have been used on Dune movies, some Rockstar Games, all sorts of places. They're in sort of most of the AAA studios. And now we're moving into enterprise training, XR training, using the gloves for that. And we've done special versions of the gloves, which are, they're a completely different price point, especially you'll like that one. It's a lot lower than it is a Mocap.
And Chris, I believe you've recently closed on the new investment round to fuel your next stage of growth. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so our existing investors have reinvested in this round. It gives us enough fuel and cash to get ourselves into volume with the gloves in the XR training market. That's investment from around the planet, basically, New Zealand, China, UK, and we're really excited to be able to push on with their support. Love investors that stay behind a business, keep them working, and we have some very informed investors in the market, which includes one of our manufacturers as well.
Congratulations on that. Look forward to seeing it, seeing you guys use the money to build on what you've already achieved and go to the next stage. My understanding is StretchSense was started over a decade ago for the world of film and gaming. And just recently you've worked with video art with artists like Snoop Dogg on his videos, projects like Baldur's Gate, so still very much involved in the entertainment industry. So what was the turning point, and when was that turning point when you became convinced that your technology could be adapted to the enterprise B2B market and the training, simulation and productivity sort of areas rather than just solely entertainment?
I've spent years in the motion capture space, so it's very familiar, and that was a really good sort of saturation for us in those sort of skills. We'd always planned to go to the more volume markets to invest in production of the product, the hardware side of it, to get the price right down, and we decided to do that. I think that was about 2.5 years ago. We've done fantastic work on that, so we've managed to get the price down to 10% of what it was. I mean, which is jaw-droppingly in terms of reductions. And the stuff that we learnt from the motion capture business was really about all those subtleties, being able to introduce splay, different ways that people use the gloves. So our motion capture gloves have fingertips. They capture absolutely everything. When we moved into the volume space, we decided to do gloves without any fingertips, and that allows you to actually live in them as opposed to just put them on to do a performance. So Here's a pair of gloves, and you can see that basically they come in 4 different sizes, and this size here, and it has the fingertips free so that you can actually feel your way around. So for example, if you want to do typing, you can type, and you can put these gloves on. And we realized pretty much straight away that the difference here is that you're going to live in these whilst you're playing a game or doing XR training. You want to have a cup of tea, you want to type a message. People forget they've got these on. They're very lightweight. You can see how thin they are. Basically it's like a pair of sports driving gloves. They're just wafer thin, and one of the biggest bonuses was the fact that they are livable with. They're breathable. They've got clear air passages in here, so you can do that, and they're washable. And that's as big a uplift as there's the performance, which come from the sensors. Which the sensors are all in here. There's 32 sensors in there, whereas the original versions of the gloves we had 16 sensors. So these extra sensors allow us to just get extra orientation and detail out of hand performance. Other changes are, there's a key technical change in that when you work in motion capture, the rest of the figure is being scanned by cameras for sort of hotspot data points by different systems. You've seen the ones with little balls on people's arms or whatever. There is a whole different set of systems. And so you know where the hand is. With this version, we've had to include the ability to mount here something which helps track within the 3D volume as well. So that was a change on the gloves. But that's it. That's the glove. That carries all the tech, and that does all the hard work of basically telling you when you've got bends and orientations and everything that you need to basically get a truly immersive performance.
Okay, you touched on some of the differences there between earlier iterations of the products and the current one that you just showed me, which looks fantastic. And obviously your potential audience, or not audience, but customer base is changing. How do you think the expectations of enterprise customers maybe differ from, say, creative studios when it comes to motion capture and interaction?
We're very much more in the world of supplying a product as opposed to a tool. A tool in motion capture because there's performers and there's a whole team of people behind the data that gets extracted. In the enterprise space, we're very focused on making a out-of-the-box experience that's very straightforward. We present the gloves in different sizes and they match onto someone's hand, and then that person's able to very quickly get straight into using the gloves to do the job. Whereas in motion capture, as I say, there's a long setup, there's a lot of people are covered in kit, there's loads of professionals around. This needs to be out of the box so that it works straight away. So when you've got 8 people going through a training session, you can see what size gloves they need in the room outside before you bring them in. Put the gloves on, they come in, they put on the headset, and straight away they're into the environment. There's also the possibility for them to select any controls should they need to, but in most cases they'll be picking up objects, seeing in the training space in front of them actions and calls to actions that they need to do. They can do commands, they can do a whole bunch of stuff. So it's a very different engagement, and the things we focus on with our enterprise customers are how fast you can get someone to understand how to use their hand compared to how fast it is to get someone to understand a gaming controller to pull a trigger or pick up a cable to a pipe to plug into a Boeing plane for fueling or something. Obviously, loaded question. We're quite quick at learning how to use these things. So there's a very different focus, and the washability is very important because if you're going to have multiple people use the gloves, the fact that you can just take off this little puck on the back here of our electronics, and now this goes into the washing machine, 20-degree cycle, bring it out, air dry it, and it's ready to be used again. One of the other key things that we added, which is really, really important, is this little unit here also has haptics in it. So you get confirmation when you touch the virtual object, right down to if you have a dial and you're teaching people how to, so we have some projects at the moment in the medical space where people are holding something and rotating a dial to control it, and you can feel the dug, 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 as you turn and rotate the dial. And that sort of affirmation is really, really great for learning. It increases the ability for people to absorb the information as much more of an immersive experience. Yeah. And there's lots of reports now of brain scans of people whilst they're using VR for training, and how much more it lights up the brain and gets you actually absorbed and into what you need to be learning.
I think I read that you described controller-based systems as causing negative training. I think was your terminology. Do you recall that?
We would say that, wouldn't we? Of course we would.
Yeah, I will.
Well, I mean,
expand on that. The concept of muscle memory as well in XR. How does sort of natural hand interaction affect retention, performance, decision making, that kind of stuff?
Yeah. So gaming controllers were developed, in the dawn of time before games existed. There wasn't a thing called a gaming controller out there. It evolved in relation to the very early game controllers, and if you designed a game controller now for the games that are around now, you wouldn't have what you've got. So historically we've got this thing and everyone's got used to playing it a bit. But when it comes to XR training, and you see people trying to do things like they're supposed to be picking up a ball, throwing something, picking up a tube, pressing a button, plugging something in, The time it takes for someone to learn with a game controller to, hang on, what's the buttons I have to learn to press to do this, to do that, you've put a great big obstacle in the way of their learning path. Whereas if you can just put a glove on them, and we have a little easy setup system which says just do this and do that, which calibrates the hand, and then the virtual space, it says pick up something and put it there just so they know where they are and what they're doing, and then they're off, and that's it. So when a prompt says pick up something, the hand reaches out, you see it, you pick it up, you feel it with the vibration, you put it there.
So let's talk tech then, Chris. So the Reality XR Glove brings a lot to the table. I think you mentioned 32 sensors, confirmatory haptics and AI-driven motion intelligence. Which of these breakthroughs would you say you're sort of personally most excited about, and which one really makes you stand out from the competition?
I think I might sound really boring with the next bit, but actually it's the usability. The tech's great, and I am going to take you through the tech because it's great. But actually, and this is what we need for the enterprise market, it's less tech and more usability, really. So in terms of the tech, the way that we've set up the puck and how it works. So this is the haptics piece. It's also the Bluetooth in and out. And that little mount there can also take other mounts so that you can put on Pico, HTC, and other units for your 3D spatial tracking. There's also an IMU unit in there so that if you put your little tracking puck on the wrist here, it can talk to that. And some people prefer to have their 3D tracking puck back on the wrist because it's away from all this lovely lightweight flexing that's happening out there. So there's a lot of technology's gone into making that work. Again, we have tested the hell out of this, and that's why the product's so stable. The sensors are unique. We have very strong IP in that space, and again, we can wash our gloves extensively with the sensors in. Other products out there where you have to try and take the sensors out in order to wash them, in and out, in and out. So this doesn't help with sort of degradation of products over time. So with our sensors, completely durable, and we've literally been making these for 10 years. We know our stuff. So, there's a lot of work has gone into that. The gloves, they're a knit, they're not a weave. And for all those people out there who are technical wizards and also like their textiles, it's quite a small crossover, but basically a knit allows it to be very flexible, so the glove really hugs the hand and really fits well. Whereas when you have a weave, it doesn't do that. So we moved on to these knits. We have a manufacturing partner who's an expert in doing this. And we've got silicone areas here to help with grip, so that as you're doing the various tasks, all of that is assisted. In terms of technology, 60 hertz for the data out, which means that we get close to zero lag. This has a 5 meter radius for the Bluetooth off the puck on the back of the hand. It can talk to many different devices, and when you get the unit for XR training, your technical team get an SDK, so they can take the product and work out how to put that into their system and their service that they're supplying. And the early customers were obviously holding their hand, like you do when you have a new product, and we're helping them. But basically, we're using a toolkit we've already built for other people to be able to take it away and use it by themselves.
Okay, it's really interesting. What kind of feedback do you get from your clients, Chris?
We get some pretty ecstatic ones, which are great. They always make you feel better after years of work. They're very liberating. Is what the most common feedback. The one about I kept them on all day, for example, is a frequent comment. So when we first went out with the gloves, we're used to people in motion capture putting on a glove, and then 3/4 of an hour later, it's cameras down, there's a break, someone resets, gloves back on, recalibrate, yada, 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 yada. And because these are so livably and people put them on and calibrate them once in the morning, that's it. Keep them on all day most of the time. The calibration on these ones as well doesn't really slip, so that's a great bonus. So once you've put them on, there's a really important win there. I suppose actually the most common one, which I should have mentioned earlier, and my team will give me a good turn off for, is gesture recognition. So with these gloves, you're able to preset a whole range of gestures. So it could be, for example, if you want to go into joystick mode, you do this. Once you do that shape, tipping your hand or using your thumb will act as a joystick, so you can move forward and fly through space. You can do particular commands like picks like that. You want to pick something up, and as your hand gets close to picking up, that defaults so that you can then teach people particular routines. So we send the gloves out with the app, and the app allows all those things to be, they're preloaded, but you can just select and you can choose ones that are specific to your device, your training path, and what you want to do. So that makes a really big difference in the training. And so you can imagine that you've learned how to pick up a piece of fruit, or learning how to chop or do something, and it recognizes that in the gesture pack.
Okay. I'll just ask you a couple more questions, Chris, and then we'll wrap up. And this is a big one, and one that you feel free to expand on. What, as an incoming CEO, what's your vision for the future of StretchSense? What kind of industries are you going to try to penetrate, and where do you see yourself taking the company and its sort of unique market offering?
So enterprise is a market that's completely in our line of sight at the moment. For the size of business where we are, we're going to do a brilliant job of servicing that market. We are looking for partners in the game market, because this already works through SteamVR into all the games applications. So that's an interesting market. We can service that really well, but we'll do that with a partner. We want to find the right strategic partner. We're in no hurry, but we're out there looking at the moment. In terms of the product, I think it will become ubiquitous. I think it will be everywhere, and our main thing is to make sure that ours is the key technology. And if you do a secondary technology for either recognizing where you are in the 3D volume, or any camera tech to help define locations, or something else, that our device allows you to marry the two together in an instant, so that you'll get this, because you know that this will allow you to use the other things as well. So there's really a great opportunity. The interest from the East Asia market is huge. We have representation in East Asia, and the volumes there are quite stunning. So it's a really great opportunity.
And Chris, you've recently partnered with SkillsVR, an XR training platform. Could you tell us a little bit about that partnership and what you hope to both bring to the market?
Yeah, SkillsVR have a fantastic platform for developing XR training. It's a real one-stop shop, really impressive. And these guys started out as trainers, and then they acquired the tech to improve what they did. So they didn't start out from the tech side, which some of us do sometimes, and sometimes it's best to start from the customer and product end like they do. And in their platform, you're able to build out the virtual spaces you want your training to happen in. You'll be able to build out learning pathways, drop-down menus, actions and prompts that you want to do for the people on their learning path. And they also have some brilliant features, which means that you can put in basics and structures. You can just put in basic instructions, and it will pre-populate it and allow you to edit and build a platform really quickly. Big player in the market, lots of big blue chip customers, and our product sits inside their platform. So if you're building out an environment, you think, hey, I need my users to use gloves, you can click. Our module already works as a node within their system, and then the gloves will be delivered by Amazon, the day after or whatever, and you're straight away able to use them on the platform. So fantastic partnership for us. They're good presence around the world, and we're working very closely together on quite a few projects, which we're not allowed to name at this particular moment, but it's very exciting.
Fantastic. I'll look out for those. That sounds great, Chris. Okay, so 5 years' time, where will StretchSense and where will the sort of real interaction market within XR be?
I think 5 years out, XR training will be commonplace. The proof points will be everywhere for everybody, showing the value of getting people in and getting them consistently trained before you might do some also physical training. So I think that side of the market will be fantastic. Most of the big tech platforms out there will have got themselves into a really good position, whereas a lot of them are exploring at the moment how they work with the sort of XR side. It's still very early days for them. This is, I think, the proper market for XR VR. And it's going to knock down a lot of doors. So I think 5 years out, you'll see people more happily interacting. I'm a big believer in the XR side. I think the mixed reality side and XR is where this market will grow properly. And I think some of the products like the Meta glasses are going to really help break down those barriers. I think the great thing about products like that is it's showing what do people actually want to use as opposed to what do the technicians think is possible. And with the Meta ones, it's actually, hey, they've got to look cool, number one. Number one, you've got to look cool. And then we add in some functionality. Do you not like it? Do you like it? Do you not like it? And if you look at the first glasses that came out, they were extremely technically minded to look at, and the market rejected them. So I think it will be absorbed into our everyday living an awful lot more. And I think the familiarity that will come from things like the Meta glasses will feed out into the rest of the market.
Okay, fantastic. That's all I had for you today then, Chris. I just want to say thanks for joining me, taking time out of your busy schedule. It's been genuinely really interesting, and StretchSense is definitely a business that we'll be keeping a very close eye on in the future. So once again, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.